Hello, and a very warm welcome to you. Thank you so much for joining me for today's podcast episode. If you've never listened to me before, welcome to the Her Handmade Hustle family, and thank you for giving me a go. I really hope you enjoy it. I talk about all things small business related, everything to do with having a creative business, being a female entrepreneur, everything in between. I really hope you enjoy it. And if you follow me on Instagram, you'll have noticed that this week is all about growth. And I've been posting a daily challenge, so something simple that you can do to help move your business forward. Now, it's nothing too scary, but it may be something that you wouldn't normally do, or it just makes you feel a little bit nervous. But that's the whole point of it. So this week we're looking at getting you out of your comfort zone and into the unknown. Because change won't ever happen when you're comfortable. It just doesn't. It's like, when you always reach for your favourite pair of leggings or your joggers because they're comfy. They don't notice when you raid the fridge at midnight or if you have a couple of extra mouthfuls of cheese when you're prepping tea. No, they don't care because they're safe. You're comfortable in them. They don't judge you. They're where you feel you're most cosy and content. Even though there's that huge part of you that just wants to dig out those jeans and try them on. But you don't because it just feels too scary and it'll probably mean change because you can't get in them. And it's similar with our business. Sometimes we just feel that it's the safest option to keep doing exactly what we're doing. We aren't really making any significant progress, but we're just okay. We're surviving. It's fine. But then there's this huge part of us that is just desperate for more. But it just feels too scary, doesn't it, sometimes? Like the jeans. I mean, who likes jeans anyway? I'm all about elasticated waistbands since becoming a mum. Tell you, they're the way forward. But there's a famous quote by Henry Ford, and he said, if you always do what you've always done, you'll always get what you've always got. And I love that because it is so true. And it's exactly the premise behind today's episode. I'm going to be talking about the importance of pushing beyond your comfort zone for both personal and business growth. Because, if you don't push yourself or you don't allow yourself to be pushed, if you're not so good at, taking a leap and doing it alone, then you're never going to progress. You're always going to be standing still. So today we're going to be talking about the power of stepping outside of your comfort zone, like not just vague, hypothetical stuff about what could happen, but actual real life examples of people, including me, who have made bold moves and have reaped the rewards. We're going to be looking at actual facts and factual information, research that shows the psychological, professional and personal benefits of stepping outside your comfort zone. Because there is real evidence that shows how it can increase brain function, especially when it comes to things like problem solving, because we become better at it. It's amazing. As well as lots of other stuff, which I'll tell you about too. But we're going to be looking at the importance of support systems and the benefits that they bring to you and your business. Just having somebody there that can push you along, as well as some practical tips, like actual things you can do to help you and your business so you see some proper growth, personally and professionally. So let's kick this off with some real life, actual examples of how stepping outside of your comfort zone really can lead to great things. We all know it's what we should be doing, because if you're anything like me, you'll scroll Instagram or Facebook or Google, whatever, and you read all these stories about successful people who have made their millions by just doing one thing that changed their lives and their businesses. I saw one the other day from a lady called Sarah Blakely. She's the founder of Spanx, and she started her billion-dollar company with $5,000 savings and a lot of determination, and that was it. And she was just 27 at the time, so she was the same age as me when I started Vintage Tree. I'm nowhere near a billionaire, but anyway, I won't compare myself. But she was working on her idea for these wonder pants for women. And she even presented the idea to most of America's factories, lingerie factories, they all turned her down because they said she wasn't established enough and that they didn't think that her idea held any weight whatsoever. And then 2 weeks later, she received a call from a factory that was based in North Carolina. And the owner, who was a man, he said that his 3 daughters had strongly backed Sarah's concept and he was going to support it. And he was going to manufacture a prototype of the pants for her. Now, she had to use her credit card to purchase the Spanx trademark, which was something like $150 at the time. But that shows that she had like no money left, so she stuck it on credit card and hoped for the best. And Sarah was persistent. She got into some really big department stores by going to meetings herself, and she actually changed into the pants in the toilets to prove how well they worked. She sent a basket of her products to Oprah. She got in front of people. She got on television. And the point is, she was proactive and she did things that she wouldn't have thought possible for an unknown businesswoman just trying to get noticed. She pushed outside of her comfort zone, and God, was it worth it for her? You know, she's now worth $1.3 billion, and she's listed as something like the 93rd most powerful woman in the world. And she didn't get there by staying in her leggings. Or maybe she did, and that was her inspiration for Spanx. Possible, I don't know. But it just shows you how powerful it can be if we just take a chance. We do something different that we've never done before. I mean, that was quite an extreme example. Sometimes, as inspirational as these stories can be, they can seem a little unrealistic for most of us normal sort of small business owners out there who are just trying to make a living, and a good one, but we're just trying to make a living out of doing something that we love. So sometimes we can't relate to stories like that, and I totally get that. I understand that because I feel the same. Because we're not all inventors, are we? And we'll probably not ever, let's be honest, come up with some life-changing invention that's going to catapult us to fame and fortune. So I thought it was just as important to also use a more realistic example of how pushing yourself outside of your comfort zone really can bring you great things and change your business and you for the better. So I thought long and hard about this, and I thought, what example can I use from my business experience and what's happened to me as my sort of like normal example, if you like, of how it's made me progress in my business. What has happened to me that I can share with you? So I thought of something, and I mean, some of you may or may not know that I also own a handmade stationery company called Vintage Twee, where I make lots of beautiful bits and pieces for events like weddings and hen parties and birthdays and like all kinds of different special occasions. And a couple of years ago, I met the owner of a company called Manchester Princess Parties. She's a local company. She hires out princesses for events and parties, etc. It basically just makes kids' dreams come true. You know, that idol walks into a room and just completely transforms their whole birthday experience. It's amazing. And it's absolutely wonderful company with a wonderful female owner who is so committed to her business, and she's got an absolute heart of gold. She's amazing. And I imagine she's the nicest boss to work for as well, because all the girls she has working for her are just lovely. Anyway, so I met Charlotte, the owner, through Vintage Twee. I think she'd ordered a couple of bits off me for a family party. I can't quite remember. But I just loved everything that she did. I've been following her company for a while, the beautiful events that she hosted, you know, and her work ethos. It was so much like mine, with her attention to detail and the commitment that she had into pouring her heart and soul into these events to make them totally unforgettable, right down to the very last detail. It's just completely the way that I work as well. And I sat and thought about it one day, and I thought, I really want to work with this woman. I want to work with her on events. You know, we'd be the perfect partnership. So I had one of those moments where I thought, okay, I'm going to reach out to her. And I had a little stomach flip, so I knew that it was something that excited me more than scared me, which is something you should always look out for if you get that stomach flip. It's a good thing. You know, it means that you want to do it. So listen to it, listen to your gut. So I reached out to her. I made some little keepsakes for her two sons that Christmas time because I wanted to show her the standard of my work, and how I was so committed to creating these magical memories that are going to stay with children forever, because they do, don't they? These are the little things kids remember from their childhood, small little gestures, and it means something to them. Anyway, she came by my house that evening, she picked the stuff up, and she was so touched by my little Christmas gifts for her sons that she contacted me a couple of weeks later, and she asked me to work with her on their biggest event of the year, this annual fairy tale ball, which they host over like 4 days. And it's attended by, I think, every child in the Northwest and probably beyond who loves princesses. It's like a dream for kids, honestly. The ball is unbelievable. I went last year and I'm going again this year. Never mind my daughter, I can't bloody wait. So anyway, I got to create the favours for the 2023 fairy tale ball, and also I'm doing them again this year for the 2024 ball, which is an under the sea themed. It's going to be fantastic. And that all came from one bold move that I made to reach out to someone that I really, really wanted to work with and show them what I could bring to the table. And I truly mean this when I say that Charlotte, actually, I think she's my real life fairy godmother. If she's listening to this, I'll tell you why, Charlotte. The first time that you've saved my bacons, twice now this has happened. The first time was last year, which was the first order I got for the fairy tale ball. And it happened just as my husband was made redundant from work that week. I mean, he literally went to work one morning and then he came home at like 11 a.m. I remember I was sat upstairs working. And he came home out of the blue. And that was it. Didn't have a job. Just been let go due to financial difficulties at work. So we were then plunged into this financial worry and stress of how we were going to pay the bills for that month. And then the wand was waved. And the Princess Ball saved the day and it got us through. It paid the bills. The second time was the beginning of this year. And I was about to go into hospital for my mastectomy. And I was so worried about being shut with no income for like 3 months minimum. Honestly, I couldn't sleep at night worrying about it. Because once you close and you're self-employed, that's it. You're closed. But then again, the wand was waved and Charlotte asked me to do the 2024 ball favours. And I got that order in just before I closed. And I'm eternally grateful for it. I really am. I'm eternally grateful to her and her business, because it just shows how much it means to a small little independent business like me, like you, when you order with them. You are literally paying their bills and putting food on the table for a real person, a real family. It means the world to us. So these bold moves are something that you must do in order to move forward and progress your business. And that is just a real life example of how it has helped me. So how does this act of stepping outside of our comfort zone actually benefit us psychologically and professionally? Is there a point in doing it that it's going to help us feel better? It's going to make us more productive? Yes, it most definitely does help us. And I was actually listening to a podcast yesterday about how we should be nurturing our brain daily. It's like the most important organ in our body, isn't it? It runs the whole show. It is our supercomputer. And we should be looking after it, this person was saying, for at least 5 minutes every day. A bit like we do, with our teeth. We clean our teeth twice a day. And we don't think twice about it, because it's our physical appearance. But we should be looking after our brain as well for 5 minutes a day. Because without it, we're going to shut down. We don't exist. And it turns out that there are things that we can actually do to improve our cognitive function and overall psychological well-being. I mean, I love all this stuff because I did it at uni. I do miss it a tiny little bit, if I'm honest, so I like talking about it. But yes, there's certain foods you can eat to help improve your cognitive function, but there's also a study that has shown, it's by Yale University, and it found that a certain amount of moderate stress, such as taking on a new challenge or doing something that you've never done before, it can actually enhance your brain function. It can help increase your problem solving skills, your creativity levels. I don't know if you've ever noticed that once you do something that you haven't done before, you sort of get on a roll with it, don't you? Like more ideas just seem to come to you and it spirals. And you're like, oh, I didn't think of that. Oh, I've thought of this now. It's like you open up some kind of door or something to creativity. It's strange, but it works. It's exactly that. And this sort of moderate amount of stress that you can put yourself under by taking on a new challenge is also shown to lead to increased resilience. We get tougher. We're more willing to try things without as much fear of rejection, and we aren't as afraid of failure. It's a bit like me last week. I decided to reach out to a couple of people to see if they would consider coming on my podcast, and they haven't replied yet. Anyway, different story. But I was so nervous to press send. Like, I was literally hovering over the button for ages, reading and rereading this email that I drafted out to these people, thinking, oh God, I need to change that. Oh God, I've done that wrong. But do you know what? I just pressed send in the end. I was hovering over it for ages and I thought, oh, sod it, just send it. Just send it. So I did. And once I'd done that, once I'd done one, I actually got on a roll with it and I sent out a few more. And then I started firing them out and thought, at the end of the day, what's the worst that could happen? They either wouldn't reply or they would reply and they'd just say, thanks, but no thanks. And I could deal with that. It was worth the chance because the reward would be a lot greater if they were to say yes. But it definitely took me to send that very first email to start off this like chain reaction in my brain that encouraged me to keep making these moves to progress. And I definitely didn't feel as nervous as I did when I sent out the first email, when I did the subsequent ones. So not only are we experiencing these actual physiological changes in our brains when we're expected to, we're exposed to moderate levels of stress, we're actually psychologically changing as well as a result of it too, because we're becoming less fearful. We're not as scared of doing things once we've done it before. We're more resilient, like I mentioned. We're more confident. And we're less likely to give up or give in. And that is one of the most important things to note. Because all of these things combined, they're crucial in forming our success mindset, whether it be in business or in your personal life. If there is something that you are trying to overcome personally or professionally, you need all of those things in order to do it. So there's never been a better reason to try something new. And I think another crucial element to progressing is one that I think as females in particular, we tend to lean on quite heavily. And that is our support system. So God, how many times a day do you share a conversation, a text, an email, whatever, with someone in your friendship circle or your family or a work colleague where you ask for advice or their opinion on something that's going on in your life? Could be anything. I think for women in particular, support systems are just everything to us. I don't know what I'd do without mine. It only consists of about 5 people, if I'm honest, but they are the people that I can rely on for absolutely anything. It can be from picking my kid up from school if I've got an appointment, to answering the phone if I need to chat, laugh, cry, or all of the above, anything. And those 5 people are sort of like my go-to support system, and they're the people that will push all my boundaries, get me outside of my comfort zone, whether it's personally or professionally. And we have different people, don't we? You tend to gravitate towards when we need different levels of support. So I like to call my my circle of trust. That's it. I like to call them my circle of trust. So those 5 people are in there. They're in the circle of trust, and they all excel at different things. They're all good to call on for different things that I might need help with, and a little push, a little nudge. But I think the one thing that all 5 of them have in common is that they all push me in some way outside of my comfort zone when I need them to. So it might be in a personal capacity, or it might be professionally, or it might be both. But one thing is for sure, that I wouldn't have done probably half the stuff that I have and succeeded if it wasn't for each and every one of them. And it's so important to make sure you have a support system in place in life, isn't it? As well as business. You need one when you're self-employed too, trust me, because it can be a lonely place. If you have your own business where you're thinking about it, you'll know what I'm talking about. It's difficult when you've got nobody to bounce ideas off and you've got no one just to ask it a quick opinion. You've not got a colleague sat next to you at your desk having a brew, and a chat while you're working. So it's really important to make sure that you've got somebody there, a support system in place, even if it's only one person, one person who can push you outside of your comfort zone, that will make you progress and do something that you wouldn't have done otherwise. It's so beneficial to you, honestly. They are the people that can provide you the encouragement that you need. If you're not sure, you're feeling a little bit low on confidence, they will encourage you and motivate you to make a decision, to go for it, to do it. And they're also the people that you can be accountable to, because I think it's important to have someone in your life that you tell things to so that they can kind of check up on you and say, well, have you done it? I do it all the time, like silly little things. If I need to make a doctor's appointment or a dentist appointment, I make a point of telling somebody, and then they'll go to me, oh, did you make that dentist appointment, that doctor's appointment? Because sometimes I just forget or can't be bothered picking the phone up, whatever. But I like to tell somebody so that sort of they can then remind me as well and make sure that I've done it. Keeps you on track, doesn't it? Keeps you on your toes. It's not about checking up on someone, well, it is a little bit, but it definitely keeps you on track. And it's also important to have that person because they can offer you a different perspective, which is always helpful. And sometimes you just need somebody to ask their opinion. What do you think of this? From your perspective, what do you think? It's always good to get all this information together. I'm always asking for opinions on my business from my circle of trust. Every single one of them, honestly. They get dragged into a conversation, probably daily, with some kind of business-related question. Because I just love to hear the different perspectives. And it's so important that as self-employed people, that we have someone there to support us. I was reading something like apparently 70% of businesses that have a mentor, in any kind of capacity, they survive longer than 5 years, which is double the rate than for non-mentored businesses. And it's because of those three things that I just mentioned, the encouragement, the accountability, and the perspective that you get from having somebody else in your corner. And I'll give you an example of when this kind of encouragement and having this mentor, it led to a significant breakthrough for me in my business with Vintage Twee. My mentor was my mum, hands down. She was the first person that I would ask for advice on absolutely anything, business related or otherwise. And my mum used to work with me at least once a week on a Tuesday for Vintage Twee, and we used to pack all my orders for me. And she was the person that encouraged or persuaded me, convinced me, whatever you want to call it, to join Not on the High Street. So this was back in the days where Not on the High Street were just starting out, and they were the ones actually seeking out sellers to fill the platform. And it was Holly Tucker that approached me. It's crazy, isn't it? It shows me a podcast interview. Anyway, I was umming and ahhing. I'm not sure, if it was a good idea. I didn't know if it would be worth it, if it was worth taking a chance on. I didn't know anything about it really. But my mum convinced me to give it a go. She gave me a little push, nor a huge one actually, because she was very much an all or nothing kind of woman. Not remembered for little pushes. She kind of forced you to do it. And she said, come on, just give it a go. She said, what have you got to lose? She said, it might really put you on the map. And it did. I accepted Holly's invitation, and we're now years later. I've had 20,000 sales, at least. I'm Not on the High Street. It's become my main source of income alongside Etsy. And without it, I wouldn't have a business. And without that nudge that came from Mum and that encouragement and persuasion, I probably wouldn't have done it. I don't even know where I'd be now. I may not have had the business at all. But she was definitely my mentor. And you may have someone in your life who does that for you, or you may not, or you may need someone different. Since I've become self-employed, I like to surround myself with people who have the same mindset, because actually they are the only ones who get it. It's like when you have kids and you enjoy being around your friends who've got kids as well, because they just get it, don't they? They get it when you're too knackered to meet up and you just cancel on the last minute. Or, you're out on a play date and your kid has like a massive meltdown because, God forbid, you cut their sandwiches into squares and not triangles. Oh, God, sorry. Or even more dramatic, this one actually happened to me last week. Your child is sobbing uncontrollably in Tesco because they can't see their own eyelids and they miss them. Honestly, that happened. It was a very stressful food shop. Anyway, I find it just really useful to be around other self-employed women who get my drive, they get my determination, my motives, why I'm doing it. They understand the struggles and how much the wins mean to me, no matter how small. So I say the first step to establishing a solid support network for yourself that's going to help you grow your business is to find yourself at least one like-minded woman who you can call on for help and support when you're feeling a little bit too cozy in your comfort zone, when you need that person, that's someone who will yank you out of your comfies and into your jeans from time to time. So I would try and identify the key people in your life who can offer you this support and just hang on to them for dear life. And secondly, you can find yourself an accountability partner. Now, this could be one of the key people you have in your life or someone new and totally unbiased, like me. I'll do it. I'm happy to be. You need someone that you can tell your business plans and goals to. You can share your hopes and dreams with, whatever it is that you want to achieve that day, that week, that month. And they're going to regularly check up on you and see how you're getting on and what progress you've made. An accountability partner. I love it. I've just started doing it actually with one of my lifelong friends from college. She's recently gone self-employed and we schedule a monthly Zoom call now where we first and foremost, discuss hair goals because we've both got curly hair. Let's get our priorities in order. But secondly, we chat about our businesses and what we've achieved that month. And I'm finding that it's really helping me stay focused and it's hopefully helping her as well. Because we are much more likely to achieve a goal that we set ourselves if we tell someone else about it and we create accountability for our actions. It's true. Thirdly, I would definitely use technology to your advantage to facilitate some networking and support. I mean, there are so many platforms and forums out there now and groups that you can just get involved in and find like-minded people, the people that are going to spur you on when you need it. Even if you never make contact with them and you are just sort of like looking at what they're talking about, seeing how they're feeling, their ideas, it can just really help push you outside of your comfort zone when you can see what other people have achieved by going outside of their comfort zone. You're welcome to join my Facebook group. It's free. It's full of creative, passionate women who are all looking for support and encouragement from other women in the same boat. That's why I set it up. It's there for people to bounce ideas off each other. It's a little community. I put loads of stuff in there, offer tips, advice, support to help these women if they're struggling and let them know that I'm here. So use technology to your advantage. While I'm on the topic of technology, I want to mention my new WhatsApp service. It's a WhatsApp support service, which is available now. It's just come out. And it's for you. It's for creative women with small businesses. And you can literally just text me with anything that you are stuck on or you need help with. It is that simple. Like there's a real person, me, on the end of the phone for you when you need just some friendly support. Send me a casual text. I'll help you. It's fast. Like I'm trying to get back to people within a couple of hours if I can, if not the same day at least, because I know that you need answers sometimes when you've got an idea in your head and you want to find out how to do it, or you've got a question to ask and you need the answer. So I try and get back to people as timely as possible. And it's this instant support that is what you need to help you make progress and move forward. Because when we're stuck, we just sometimes give up, don't we? We just go, I can't be bothered. I don't know the answer. I can't bother Googling it. I feel overwhelmed. I'm done. And you just move on to something else. So we don't ever get any further along and we just end up staying still. But imagine how easy it would be, like seriously, if you could just send a quick text message to somebody, to me, and I can give you the answers to what you didn't know and get you unstuck. Just imagine how much you'd get done if you had that person at the other end of the phone. You'd be flying. You'd be absolutely flying. So that's why I did it. And people often say to me, well, what kind of help can I get through the service? What can I expect from you? Well, oh my God, anything you want. Like, the aim is for me to provide, excuse me, fast, bite-sized pieces of information to help you with all those annoying, niggly things that you just get stuck on and that pop into your head. You think, oh, I don't know the answer to that. I just wish I knew. It could be social media related. Anything you're stuck on with that. It could be questions about Etsy, help with pricing your products. Or you might want to text me if you've got a new idea and you need a second opinion or some advice on it. Whatever it is that's keeping you awake at night and stopping you from progressing. The aim of the whole service is for me to be that key person for you and the one who will be all of those things that we just talked about. You know, your accountability partner, your encouragement when you need it the most, you know, your motivation, the rocket up your ass to get you going in the morning, and a different perspective. And what makes me qualified to be that person for you? Well, I am or I'm not, but I have done it for a long time myself. I've been in your shoes. You know, I've experienced running a small creative business and I know what works and what doesn't. And I truly believe that experience trumps all qualifications, if you ask me. You know, it's one of those things like I've got a psychology degree, which would be good to put to use as well. But I have done a lot since starting Vintage Tweet and I've learned a lot and I've got a lot to share. And I promise you, if I don't know the answer, because I don't know everything, obviously, I will go out and find it for you so you don't have to waste your time finding it out and getting yourself more worked up and more confused. And it's like £19 a month, that's it. So you can have me for 1 month or 6 months or whatever you want. 2 months, 3 months, it's pay as you go. So it's totally flexible and it's really, really casual. It's easy. If you want to find out more about the WhatsApp service, it's on my website now. So if you just visit the homepage, herhandmadehustle.co.uk, it's right there on the homepage. But I'll also put the link in the show notes as well, so it'll take you straight there. So to recap the main points that we've just been talking about in today's episode. Number one, comfort zones. They're cosy, aren't they? But they aren't where change happens. We have to get outside of them if we want to grow, both personally and professionally. Number two, coming out of our comfort zone is powerful. There's got to be a bold move that will bring about change. And it's got to be something that excites you more than it scares you. It gives you that tummy flip when you think about it. Number three, there are psychological and professional benefits of putting yourself under a controlled, moderate amount of stress. You get increased brain function and you get better professional performance, which is what we all want because that will bring you the results that you need. And then before, we looked at the importance of having a support network to push you outside of your comfort zone. That one person or small group of people, whatever, who you know are going to challenge you to push your boundaries so that you can be accountable to them. So you get your shit done, basically. That's what it's all about, getting stuff done. So I'm just going to wrap up today's episode with some final words of motivation and encouragement to step out of your comfort zone, right? And it's a weird example, but I really think that, you know me, I like a metaphor and I think it actually signifies quite well pushing your boundaries and encouraging sort of change. And I'm going to use my sofa as an example. So hear me out with this one, right? So last week we decided it was time to get rid of our old sofa. Now we're redecorating the lounge. We've got a new one waiting to take its place. And honestly, I've hated the bloody thing for a while now. It's just like so beaten and bruised from everything it's been subjected to over the last, 13, 14 years I've had it. It just needed to go. Every time I came to the lounge, I looked at it and I thought, oh, God, it's just making me feel depressed. But I've been putting it off for a while, and I needed a push to get rid of it, And that push came when my next door neighbour, like, she knocked on and she practically offered us a brand new sofa that she'd got just a couple of years ago. She hardly sat on it, and because she was changing her room around too, and it just didn't go anymore. I thought, oh, perfect opportunity. Anyway, I listed our old sofa for free on Facebook, and it only took about 2 hours, and someone messaged me and they asked if it was still available. Well, that was it. I burst into tears, like literally sobbing on the sofa, right? I mean, me and that sofa, we've been through a lot the last 13 years. It was the first thing that I bought myself as a divorced 27-year-old moving into her own rented place alone for the first time, when Vintage Tree was in its infancy, but it was allowing me, it's making enough money to let me move out of my parents' house and buy furniture. So that's like the first big purchase that I made. And then after that, I had many a Friday night alone on it with a Chinese takeaway and episodes of True Blood. Loved that programme. It got me through the next couple of years. But I got used to being single again. It also saw a few different boyfriends, I'm not going to lie. 3 different houses, a lot of good times, a hell of a lot of bad times, and everything in between. It's the place that me and my mum would collapse on after a hard day's work with Vintage Tree on a Tuesday. We'd have our tea and we'd watch The Chase on the sofa every single week. It was the place I had the very last cuddle with her before she went into the hospice. It was the place that we had our last Mother's Day, me, my sister and my mum, sitting on that sofa, saying some unforgettable things to each other. And it's had lots of happy memories too. It was a place where I was sat when I found out I was going to be a mum. And I told my best friend. And my sister, I remember doing the video call on the sofa, saying she was going to be an auntie. It was the first place I collapsed on when I got home with my new baby, and I slept on it for hours on end with her next to me in her Moses basket, reaching down to hold her hand. It's been a bed for my dad when he's not wanted to go home because he misses my mum too much. It's been a safe haven for my daughter when she's been poorly and she's not wanted to leave my side and go to nursery. It's been my safety blanket, my comfort zone for a long, long time. And all these thoughts just came rushing into my head the second that this Facebook message popped up on my phone asking if it was still available. And I just burst into tears. And my husband looked up and he just said to me, "What's wrong?" And I just replied to him, "I can't get rid of it." Now, men being men, he took that literally and he just said to me, "Oh, don't worry about it, we'll just pay the council to take it. It's fine, stop worrying." I mean, honestly, it was like a car crash because I was sobbing and then my daughter then starts getting upset because she's got this habit of personifying things. So especially like non-animate objects, she personifies the sofa, gives it a name. So then she started getting really upset, saying, "Oh God, don't sell it," and starts kissing it. "I love you, sofa, I love you." And I was feeling absolutely awful. But, I needed somebody to give me the nudge, the confidence and the assurance to do it. And in this occasion, my neighbour did it for me. And it's gone. So you'll see a photo of me. I'm going to post it on Instagram this week. The very last photo of me and my sofa. It'll make you laugh. But that's it. Okay. So remember, if you want me to be that person for you and you want me to help you take those all important steps, getting outside of your comfort zone, then join my WhatsApp service. I'm here. I'm here to help you. You won't regret it, I promise you. I'll be that person that'll push you over the edge. Trust me, I'm good at doing that. All my friends say that. Make them do things they don't want to do and they never regret it. So that's all for today. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you've enjoyed today's episode. I've enjoyed recording it. It's been very therapeutic for me recording these episodes. I really look forward to it every week and I hope you do too. If you can share this podcast with any other women in your life that you think would love to hear it and love to listen to it. Obviously, great if you've got a small business. If you haven't, I hope you still find it inspirational and you find things that I talk about interesting. So if you can share it, rate and review me, whatever you can, I would be so grateful. So thank you so much for listening again, and I will speak to you next time.